I told my brother that his crush dislikes him because he's an asshole, not because he's too smart. My brother Noah is 13 and a certified genius. He got accepted into this advanced research institute when he was 11, works with college students, gets interviewed for science magazines. Our parents never tell him no. The result? He's become unbearable. For 2 months. He's been obsessed with this girl from his program named Sophie. She's 15 and wants nothing to do with him. Noah cannot figure out why. Every dinner he complains. Sophie didn't laugh at my joke. Sophie partnered with Brandon instead of me. Our parents always respond the same way. She's probably intimidated by how accomplished you are. Honey, it makes me want to scream. Last Thursday, Noah invited Sophie over for a physics project. I left my bedroom door cracked because I knew this would be a disaster. Sophie would start explaining, and Noah would interrupt within 5 seconds. That won't work. She'd try again. He'd cut her off. No, you're thinking about this wrong. She suggested a different formula. And he laughed. That's completely stupid. Then he spent 20 minutes yapping about himself. An article that mentioned him. A professor who emailed him his plans for a PhD by 18. Sophie just sat there, scrolling on her phone. Deadass, waiting to leave. Noah asked what she wanted to study. She said developmental psychology, bro. Immediately launched into a lecture. Psychology isn't a real science. You're too smart to waste time on feelings. You should do neuroscience. If you want to actually contribute something meaningful. Sophie's face went blank. She packed up and left without finishing. Yesterday at dinner, Noah complained again. Sophie sat on the opposite side of the room. She's clearly intimidated by my superior intellect. Women are just too emotional to appreciate logic. Mom nodded. She probably feels insecure around you. I've been biting my tongue for 2 months. Oh my God. Noah, she doesn't dislike you because you're smart. She dislikes you because you're an obnoxious, condescending asshole. The table went silent. Noah's face turned red. What? I heard everything. You interrupted her constantly, called her ideas stupid, insulted her career choice. Why would anyone want to be around that? Noah stood up fast. I was helping her think critically. You didn't let her finish a single sentence. Mom's voice got sharp. That's enough. You're being cruel. Noah's voice cracked. Sophie is intimidated by me. That's a fact. He stormed off. My parents lectured me for 15 minutes. 4 days later, Noah burst through the door at 3 in the afternoon. His face was pale, hands shaking. He went straight to his room. 20 minutes later, Dad's phone rang. What? When? We'll be there tomorrow. He called for Mom. They went into their bedroom. I heard Mom crying. I knocked. I opened the door to my parents' bedroom. My mother was sitting on the edge of the bed, a tissue pressed to her mouth, her eyes red and swollen. My dad was pacing by the window, his face a mask of furious disbelief. What happened? I asked, my voice cutting through the heavy tension. Is Noah okay? Is he hurt? Dad stopped pacing and looked at me, his jaw working. He's been suspended, he spat out. Indefinitely, pending a review of his conduct. My stomach dropped, not out of shock, but out of a heavy, sinking validation. From the institute. It's ridiculous, Mom sobbed, looking up. They're saying he created a hostile work environment. Can you believe that? He's a child. He's 13 years old. They're holding him to the standards of a 30-year-old HR manager. He's a genius, Dad added, his voice rising. Geniuses are eccentric. They don't have time for social pleasantries. The director called. Apparently, a formal complaint was filed. I didn't need to ask who filed it. Sophie. Sophie, Dad confirmed, saying her name like it was a curse word. And 3 other students backed her up. They claim Noah is obstructive, demeaning, and impossible to collaborate with. They said he sabotaged a group brainstorming session by refusing to let anyone else speak. So, I said quietly, leaning against the doorframe. Exactly what I told you at dinner 4 days ago. Don't, Mom snapped, her grief turning into defensive anger. Do not kick your brother while he's down. This is a conspiracy. They're jealous. Sophie knows Noah is miles ahead of her, so she rallied the other mediocrities to push him out. It's tall poppy syndrome. I looked at them. 2 grown adults completely detached from reality. Did they say anything else? Dad hesitated. They said Noah made a comment to a female grad student. Something about how her pregnancy was statistically likely to lower her cognitive output, and she should serve coffee instead of handling the data. I closed my eyes and exhaled a long breath. Jesus, Noah. He was citing a study. Mom cried out, though her voice lacked conviction this time. He didn't mean it maliciously. He just cares about the data. He's 13, Mom. He told a grown woman she was too pregnant to think. That's not science. That's being a brat. I turned to leave. I'm going to talk to him. Leave him alone, Dad warned. He's devastated. Good, I said, stepping into the hall. He should be. Noah's room was dark. The blinds were drawn, and the only light came from the glow of his computer monitors, which were currently asleep. He was lying on his bed, staring at the ceiling. He looked smaller than usual. Without the posturing, without the arrogance puffing out his chest, He just looked like a little boy. I sat on his desk chair. He didn't move. They kicked me out, he whispered. His voice wasn't angry. It was hollow. I heard. Suspended. Dr. Eris said I'm a liability, Noah said, his voice trembling. He said my intellect is an asset, but my personality is a liability that the Institute can no longer afford to insure. He said I lack collaborative empathy. He's right, Noah. Noah shot up, his eyes wet and furious. You're supposed to be on my side. I didn't do anything wrong. I was right. That grad student was making errors. Sophie's ideas were derivative. Why does everyone care more about feelings than the truth? Because nobody cares if you're right if you make them feel like dirt, Noah. I said, keeping my voice level. Science is collaboration. You can't build a rocket alone. You can't cure cancer alone. If nobody wants to work with you, your genius is useless. I don't need them, he muttered, crossing his arms. I can work alone. Really? Who's going to fund your lab? Who's going to peer review your papers? Who's going to hire you? I leaned forward. You think being smart is a golden ticket that lets you treat people like garbage. Today you found out it isn't. The world just told you no. For the first time in your life, Mom and Dad couldn't bully someone into saying yes. Noah looked away, his chin trembling. Sophie called me a narcissist. She was being kind, I said. She could have called you a lot worse. I thought she liked me. I was showing off for her. I wanted her to see that I was worthy. By telling her her dreams were stupid, I was trying to guide her to a better field. Noah shouted, a tear finally escaping. I wanted to be her equal. You didn't want an equal, Noah. You wanted an audience. He stared at me, the words sinking in. For a second, the wall cracked. But then the defense mechanism kicked in. He flopped back onto the pillow. Get out. You're just like them. You don't understand how my mind works. I stood up. I understand perfectly. You're the smartest person in the room, and you're the loneliest person in the room. And until you fix the first part, the second part isn't going to change. The next week was a nightmare. My parents went into full war mode. They hired a high-powered attorney to threaten the Institute with a discrimination lawsuit. They claimed Noah was being targeted for his age and neurodivergent communication style. They didn't even ask Noah if he wanted to sue. They just needed to fix the dent in their trophy. Noah stayed in his room gaming. He wasn't reading journals. He wasn't coding. He was playing Call of Duty and screaming at teenagers on Xbox Live. It was a regression. On Wednesday, the lawyer came over. Mr. Sterling. He was a shark in a suit, the kind of guy who cost $800 an hour. We all sat in the living room. We have a strong case for reinstatement, Sterling said, reviewing the file. However, the Institute has countered with statements. They have a lot of statements. Lies, Dad said. Well, Sterling adjusted his glasses. They have recordings. The lab has security cameras with audio. The room went silent. Play it, Noah said suddenly. Noah, honey, you don't need to, Mom started. Play it, Noah insisted. He looked pale, but there was a strange determination in his eyes. Sterling tapped his tablet and connected it to the TV. Grainy footage of the lab appeared. There was Noah, standing at a whiteboard. Sophie and two other students, older than him, were sitting at a table. On screen, Sophie. So if we adjust the variable for wind resistance, the trajectory might. Noah. Slams marker on the board. Wrong. God, are you listening? I said drag coefficient, not wind resistance. The terms aren't interchangeable in this context. It's like talking to a toddler. Brandon, are you writing this down or are you just staring at the wall? Brandon. Dude, chill. We're just brainstorming. Noah. Brainstorming implies you have brains to storm with. This is a waste of my time. Sophie, your formula is high school level garbage. If you want to play with the big kids, read a book. On screen, Sophie stood up. She looked humiliated. Sophie. I'm done, Noah. You're impossible. Noah. I'm efficient. You're just slow. The video cut. The silence in the living room was heavier than lead. My parents looked physically ill. They had heard the descriptions, but seeing their sweet boy sneer with such visceral contempt, was different. I sound. Noah's voice was a whisper. Like a bully. I finished for him. I sound like an asshole, Noah corrected me. He looked at Dad. Is that really me? Dad rubbed his temples. You were frustrated, son. You were under pressure. No, Noah stood up. I wasn't under pressure. I was just mean. I looked at Sophie's face. She looked like she wanted to cry. We can argue context, Mr. Sterling said, trying to salvage his paycheck. We can argue that. Stop, Noah said. Don't sue them. Noah, this is your future. Mom cried. No, it's not, Noah said, his voice gaining strength. If I go back there now, with a lawyer forcing them to take me, they'll hate me even more. Everyone will hate me. I don't want to go back. He looked at me. I need to apologize. Noah didn't go back to the Institute. He withdrew voluntarily. For the first time in 3 years, Noah had a free schedule. No lectures, no lab hours, no interviews. He was just a 13-year-old boy in the suburbs. It was terrifying for him. He spent 2 days writing a letter to Sophie. He went through 20 drafts. The first few were classic Noah, defensive, explanatory, using big words to mask his shame. Draft 1. Dear Sophie, I regret that my communication style was misinterpreted as hostility, given my accelerated processing speed. I ripped that one up. Garbage. Try again. Draft 4. I'm sorry you felt bad, but you have to understand that accuracy is paramount in physics. Nope, I said. That's a non-apology. Finally, on Saturday morning, he handed me a piece of notebook paper. Dear Sophie, I am writing to apologize for my behavior. My sister told me I was being an asshole, and after watching the security footage, I agree with her. I was rude to you. I insulted your intelligence and your goals. I made the lab a terrible place to be. I thought that because I understood the math better, I was a better person. I was wrong. You didn't dislike me because I was smart. You disliked me because I was mean. I am sorry I ruined the project. I have withdrawn from the institute. You won't have to deal with me again. Good luck with your developmental psychology degree. You'll probably be great at it because you actually know how to listen to people. Sincerely, Noah. I read it twice. I looked up at him. He was chewing his lip. It's good, I said. It's real. Do I mail it? Yeah. But don't expect a reply, Noah. Apologies are for clearing your side of the street. They don't obligate the other person to forgive you. He nodded solemnly. I know. The next 6 months were a strange adjustment period for our family. My parents were lost. Their identity as parents of the prodigy was gone. They actually had to parent him now. When Noah snapped at the waitress at a restaurant for getting his order wrong, it's a binary choice, fries or salad. How hard is that? Dad didn't laugh it off. He set his fork down. Noah, apologize. Now. Noah froze. He looked at Dad, then at me. I'm sorry. Noah mumbled to the waitress. I had a long day. Leave a big tip, Dad instructed. It was small, but it was progress. Noah enrolled in the local high school for the fall semester. It was a massive step down academically, but a massive step up socially. He was a freshman. He was small, he was awkward, and nobody knew who he was. The first week was brutal. He came home silent. How was it? Mom asked, hovering. Boring, Noah said. The physics teacher got Newton's second law wrong. He simplified it too much. Did you correct him? I asked, bracing myself. Noah looked at his peas. I raised my hand. Then I put it down. I just let it go. I smiled. Good job. A few months later, I walked past Noah's room. He was on a video call. I paused, listening. No, that makes sense, Noah was saying. I didn't think of it that way. Yeah, try plugging that into the code. Nice catch, Dave. I leaned in. He was gaming with a kid from school. He was collaborating. He wasn't lecturing. He was playing. 2 years later, Noah was 15. He was still a genius. That hadn't changed. He was taking college courses online and coding freelance for a tech startup. But he was also playing on the varsity tennis team. He wasn't great, but he liked the geometry of the game. And he had a group of friends who were average intelligence, but shared his sense of humor. We were at the mall, buying a gift for Dad's birthday. Noah. We turned around. Sophie was standing near the food court. She was 17 now, heading off to college soon. She looked different, older, confident. Noah froze. His face went pale, then a soft pink. Sophia. She looked him up and down. He had grown a few inches, his hair was styled better, and he wasn't wearing a lab coat. I heard you're going to MIT in the fall, Noah said. Neuroscience. She smiled, a genuine smile this time. Actually, I stuck with psych. I'm looking into cognitive behavioral therapy for adolescents. That's really cool, Noah said. We need good people in that field. Sophie tilted her head. I got your letter. A couple of years ago. Noah looked at his shoes. Yeah, I meant it. I know, she said. It was a good letter. Dr. Arish showed me some of the work you've been publishing lately. You're co-authoring with Dr. Evans. Yeah, Noah said. I'm doing the data crunching. He handles the theory. It's a good partnership. You've changed, Noah, she said. I hope so, he replied. I was pretty insufferable. You were, she laughed. It wasn't mean. It was just true. But you were 13. We were all idiots at 13. I was a special kind of idiot, Noah admitted. Well, Sophie checked her watch. I gotta run. Good seeing you, Noah. Tell your sister I said hi. She waved at me. Bye, Sophie, I said. We watched her walk away. Noah let out a breath he seemed to have been holding for 2 years. You okay? I asked. Yeah, Noah said. He watched her disappear into the crowd. She still doesn't want to date me, though. Nope, I agreed. She's out of your league. Noah smirked. Statistically speaking? Yes. But give me 10 years. I'm working on my personality variables. Don't push it, nerd. I nudged him. Let's go get Dad that watch, he said. We walked through the mall, side by side. He didn't walk in front of me anymore. He walked with me. My parents still brag about him, of course. They frame his new articles. But the thing they're proudest of isn't the PhD track or the awards. Last week, my mom called me crying happy tears. What is it? I asked, panicked. Noah's physics teacher called, she said. There's a new student, a girl who's really struggling with the math. Noah stayed after class for an hour to tutor her. The teacher said he was patient, kind, and encouraging. He didn't make her feel stupid once. I smiled, looking at the photo on my desk of me and my brother. He finally figured it out. I told Mom. Figured what out? The physics. No, I said. The hardest formula of all. How to be a human being.